my beautiful audience to another episode of Wisdom on the Front Porch, where your front porch could be here on Zoom. It can be in a coffee shop, a digital cafe, wherever you go to learn from others, to gain knowledge, to gain wisdom. And we're going to give you some great wisdom today with Shiraz, who is here. I am so glad you're here as my guest. I love the background, the powerful roaring lion, the Superman, and the colors and the books. It's just, I love it.
Thank you. So good to be here, LS.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. It's such an honor to have you here. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
I am a reality interventionist, and I work with women coaches that are struggling with yo-yo results, that feel like the best kept secret and aren't having the impact they want in the world. So
Yeah,
I help you become high impact, high income, sought after experts.
cool. I love that. I love that. Um, we talked a little earlier, and I don't know what I wrote. So, so while we were talking, doing the pre-show, I'm writing things and it's like I can't even read my own writing today. I'm
Well,
just getting it all out there. But let's talk a little bit about how you got started.
sure,
And not necessarily the business that you're doing, but how you got into this whole thing in the first place.
sure. So I was in university at 22 years old, studying to be a doctor.
Oh,
And yeah, and I was a bodybuilder as well. Right.
nice.
So I knew exactly what I was going to do with my life, where things were going. And of course, that's not the plan life has for us. So that year, I got rheumatoid arthritis in
Ooh,
every joint in my body. And, when you've got that plan and suddenly, bam, that plan is taken away from you, how that can feel. So you're sitting there going, well, what what did I do to deserve this? Right?
yeah.
Why is this happening to me?
And why can't I have my dream?
Yep. And what am I supposed to do now? And so I was, going through the different emotions, anger, depression, despair. I was in pain every day. I would spend days and weeks just lying in bed in pain because it was
Mm,
just that much going on. There were nights I
yeah.
couldn't even eat. I had to sip my dinner through a straw because my jaw was so swollen and painful. Like it was
Oh,
every joint
wow.
in my body.
Wow.
And I was trying everything that you're supposed to. I was trying medication, uh, changing my diet, using supplements. I tried things like yoga and meditation and acupuncture, and nothing worked. Nothing would make
Wow.
the arthritis go away. And there were times it would go into remission. And I thought it would be okay, I'm getting through this, and then it would just come back full swing and
Mm.
a lot more pain. And this was my life for the next 18 years.
Wow. 18 years of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And I count myself lucky because some people never get out of it and live in the
Yeah.
pain of arthritis their whole lives.
Yeah. My
So,
my sister's mother-in-law had rheumatoid arthritis all of her life.
mhm,
Yeah.
yep. It just doesn't typically hit people in their early 20s. Right? So I was,
Yeah, that's
I was,
true.
you know, I had that fun experience. So
Surprise.
yeah.
And you have
And
to deal
then
with your
eventually I
mind with this.
my dad and oops, sorry.
That's okay.
My system just switched my speakers over to my AirPods for some reason. I had to switch it back.
That's all right. Technical things happen, but it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation with my dad and said, "Is there anything that we haven't tried yet? Something new, something we haven't heard of?" And he said, "I just heard about a program called combined therapy. It's being offered over in this place in India, and apparently they've had success with multiple different illnesses." And I looked at him and said, "Multiple illnesses? Because you usually go to some place for arthritis or cancer or diabetes,
Yeah.
and they specialize." He goes, "No, they cure everything." And I'm like, "Why aren't they known worldwide then? What is this?" And he said, I don't know, it's just a small operation, and I don't know how long they've been going, but someone I know talked about this and the great results they get. So I jump on a plane and I fly to India. And I get into this combined therapy program. And it was not what I thought it was because I figured it's India, it's going to be some sort of laying of hands, energy healing, Reiki kind of thing. And he just talked to me for weeks.
Wow.
Right. And I was like, what is going on? This is supposed to be some sort of therapy. There's not actually any therapy. It's just a conversation. It was kind of like being with a psychiatrist, only he wasn't trying to solve anything. He was just
Yeah.
gathering all this information on my life. But at the end, he looks at me and goes, well, Shiraz, you believe you're responsible for everyone in your life. And I'm like, what? No, I don't.
Wow.
Right? He said, oh, I know you don't think you do, but from everything we've talked about it, you've created this belief back when you were a little kid that you needed to be responsible for everyone in your life. And by the time you got to be in your 20s, you'd met so many new people that you had to be responsible for that you hit a tipping point. And I'm like,
It's
and created arthritis. I'm like, why would I do that? He goes, because when you're lying in bed in pain, you don't have to be responsible for anyone and you don't have to feel guilty that you can't take care of them all. Your
isn't
arthritis
that
isn't your
something?
problem. Yeah, that's it. Your arthritis isn't your problem. It's your solution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, that's messed up. Like, why, why would anyone do that to themselves?
Yeah.
And he said, but most chronic illnesses are solutions for problems people don't realize they have.
Wow. I've never heard that before.
Yep, that's it.
I'm kind of stunned taking that all in. Um,
So I
wow.
basically got to this point where I need to be responsible, and I saw I physically could not be responsible for everyone. I'd see friends and family doing stupid things, and I couldn't help them,
Yeah.
and I felt guilty that I could not help them.
Wow.
And your mind doesn't care about the physical, it cares about the emotional. So I had to find a way to get out of the guilt. And if I'm
Yeah.
lying in bed in pain, I have an excuse as to why I can't take care of everything.
So did you stay there longer and find how to deal with this, or did what happened next?
So I said, okay, if what you're saying is true, because I didn't like totally believe all that, that just seemed outrageous. I said,
Yeah.
all I have to do is say I'm not going to be responsible for anyone, and my arthritis should just go away. Like according to what you're telling me, that it should just go away. And he looked
That's
at me, he goes, yeah,
logical.
yeah. He said, yeah, it will. If you believe it deep down that you don't need to be responsible for anyone but you, then you don't need the arthritis. So I said, okay, I'm not going to be responsible for anyone but me. And you know what happened in that moment? Nothing.
Yeah. I
However,
was
when I woke
thinking
up,
that, and it's like, well, is that really what
yeah,
happened?
well, when I woke up the next morning, there was no pain, there was no inflammation. I had more mobility. I could even breathe better. I could get more oxygen in my lungs. So I'm freaking
Wow.
out because it's been 18 years of me trying everything under the sun to try to cure myself. This guy says, stop being responsible, and the arthritis goes away overnight.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really did believe him, and you really did say, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be responsible for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm more of a logical thing. It's like, well, if not being responsible gets rid of it, I'll not be
Right.
responsible. Like, that was just
Yeah.
a logical decision on my part. I know other people would take it in a different context because it's like,
Right.
but it's my family. I need to be responsible for them. I'm just like,
Right.
nope, that if that's it, if that's the logic, boom, done. And
Wow.
yeah, and it was crazy because there was at the place we were staying, there was a track. And I try to get some semblance of fitness. And by this point, I'm like really skinny. There's very little cartilage left between my bones. I walk like an 80-year
Oh,
old man, hunched over, and
yeah.
I would be on that track every day just to get some exercise. And I'd be getting passed by people that are like 60,
Oh,
70 years
yeah.
old, right? I'm like, they're like decades
Oh,
older than me. And I'm like, this is embarrassing, but this is my life now.
right.
And then that day I get out and on the track and I'm passing everyone. I'm weaving in and out of people. Everyone that's been
Whoa.
watching me is like, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah.
And there was no pain. There was no inflammation. I could do it again.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Wow. So, wow. I'm just kind of blown away by that. So are you working a regular job at this time, or are you just going to school? What's going on in your life here?
So when at that point I had switched my majors to computers because that's something I could do while sitting down.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I went back and I just went back to doing my job without having pain anymore.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and I still started looking into this, but I didn't really say, "Oh, this is going to change everything." It's just like now I can go back and not live in pain.
Right. Right.
However, when I started looking into this, I found out, well, this isn't just about illness,
Mm.
right? Your mind prioritizes emotional, uh, the avoidance of emotional distress over physical circumstances. So for me,
Okay.
avoid guilt by creating arthritis.
Right.
Some people would be
Oh,
okay if a lot of because I work with business people now. I say, would you like to make an extra $100,000 a year? And they always say, yeah, of course I do. But when we start looking into it, I was like, is it okay if people come up and start asking you for money? What? It's like, yeah, you've got lots of money now. Can you invest in my business? Can you give to my charity? Is it okay if your family members are like, can you give me money because you got the money, you take care of the family? And most of the time they're like, oh no, I don't want that. I'm like, well, if you
okay.
don't want that, then your mind says the simplest way to make sure that never happens is to not have the money,
Wow.
right? Your mind goes for the simplest solutions to avoid the emotional distress,
I
right?
just
I don't
had
want to be,
relatives pop into my mind
there
when
you
you
go.
said that. It's like,
Right. So that's a reason a lot of people don't have money. Right. Um, some people hate rich people. They look at what
yeah.
millionaires and billionaires are doing. They're like, oh my God, I hate those people. Your mind says, I have to make sure I never become like them.
My
What's
dad
something
was
that,
that way,
yeah,
exactly like that. And I never could figure out why he felt so bad and, doing family history and stuff. I ended up finding, out the story behind that. But that is the way he thought. And we didn't grow up middle class. I'll put it that way.
yeah, because his mind is, how do I make sure I don't become like them? And the more he hates them, the further away he'll push himself. And in this case, financially.
Yeah. That's why my mom handled the money.
Okay.
Yeah, it really is why she did it. That makes total sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had people, one of my clients, I said, uh, if I gave you $100,000, but you had to give 50,000 of that to the government for taxes, would you take the money? And she said, no. I'm like, really? You'd still get $50,000 for doing nothing. She goes, I could never give the government that much money. I hate them. No, I would not do it. I'm like, and now we know why you don't have lots of money. You're trying to avoid giving the government taxes.
Wow. Well, you
Yep.
could go into so many different roads. I'll say
Mhm.
that way, paths going with this, if I give you 100,000, but you have to do this with it, and you're gonna say no, well, that explains why you don't have money.
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, it's like interesting thought. I love the mindset thing about this. So here you are, you're a software computer guy, I guess, whatever. You're going
Mhm.
into the business. So how long were you in the business world, so to speak, before you're doing what you do now? And what caused the
It was.
change?
So I got rid of the arthritis in 2006.
Mhm.
I started researching all this mindset stuff shortly after and learning different techniques, not just the mindset stuff, the energy healing, practicing on friends and family.
Yeah.
And eventually, in about 2013, one of my friends said, Shiraz, people will pay you for this. And for me, it was just a hobby, it was just an exploration. So I'm like, yeah, no, they won't. This is just a thing. She goes, no, people will pay you good money for this. So I said, okay, let's find out. And I said, I'm going to charge $100 an hour. Let's see if anyone pays. And I thought that was a lot of money at the time, right? Because that
Right.
would be $200,000 a year if I had a full-time job. So I started charging and people started paying.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, this is an actual business. And eventually I let go of well, actually my old job let go of me. And
Oh,
yeah, that was a crazy thing. There was a company in Canada that was called Black's Photography.
okay.
And I was the online project manager for them, handling all the software systems online. And I kept getting into fights with the management. I said, we have to stop trying to print pictures and monetize digital images and videos because that's where the world's headed. And they're like, no, we're a photography company, we print pictures. And so finally they let me go. And I
Okay.
said, if you don't listen to me and you don't change your ways, you'll be out of business in a year. And I was wrong. They went out of business in 18 months.
Oh,
And
wow.
so,
But still,
yeah,
that's interesting, when people are given warnings and given suggestions, they could have said, well, this is what we really like to do. This is our main income for our business, but maybe we'll try a little bit of something over here and see how that works and see if what you're saying has any merit and give it a
yeah,
try. And then if they see that that one's really kicking off, it's like, wow, you know, now this will be the little business, we'll keep that one as the big one. That's
yeah.
interesting. There's that mindset again. Why wouldn't they take your advice on it or try to come up with some way to, you know, let's test it, see if it works, because you take cars for test runs, there's
Mhm.
all kinds of things we test out to see if it's going to be worth it. That's why we date instead of just automatically, oh, hi, let's get married. You want to find out if you're going to like this person or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, you test it out and see what works. A lot of businesses do that. That's why we have polls. That's why we ask these questions, online or whatever to find out what are people thinking. Is this something I want to pursue? And there's that mindset again that this is the way we're going to do it. This is what we want to do without actually finding out what does the buyer want.
Mhm.
That's that's a good point. So you're let go
Let
and
go. And
and so you
they
just
get,
went to do this full time?
well, yeah, and this is part of manifestation. And I was thinking about doing this in a full-time capacity. I didn't have the funds yet to build the business if I lost my job. But because
Right.
they let me go, and it wasn't because I was a bad employee, because I doubled their online revenue since I got there,
Oh,
they had to give
nice.
they had to give me a significant payout package, which I used to fund the new business.
Oh,
So it all
nice.
worked out beautifully.
Good, good. Oh, that is good. So there you are. You're charging for this business of healing people. When does it turn into more of coaching women to get out of that yo-yo to, they're not feeling like they're impacting the world? How did you get to the point to show them how that they really can impact the world?
That was because I had coaches, right? The one thing I learned is if your coach doesn't have a coach, don't hire that coach.
That's right. That's right. And don't
And
be a coach if you don't have a coach.
yeah. And this is the thing. One of my coaches was talking to me about business expansion and doing higher price packages. And he said, the thing is, if you're going to do higher price packages, you're going to be spending more time with them. So it's got to be people that you love working with.
Okay.
And I said, and the first thing I was like, well, I can serve everyone. Like, and he's like,
Yeah,
stop with
we all
that
say that.
crap. You're like, right, it's just,
I can write a
and
book for everyone.
yeah. And eventually I said, okay, let's focus on entrepreneurs. And so I created some programs for entrepreneurs in general to get a lot of them to six figures. And then he goes for the premium program. uh, Um, who are you going to serve? And I'm trying to think who I can help most. And he goes, no, don't think about who you can help most. And I'm like, what? Isn't that what we're supposed to do? He goes, at your premium level, it's who do you love helping most? Because you're going to be spending so much time with them.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
That's
Good
it.
coach. Good coach.
Right. And I said, "Oh, women coaches every day. Like
Yeah.
they listen the most. I love watching the transformations. I've been through what a lot of them have done, and guys are a lot more resistant. So I said, women coaches that have been in business for a while, and he goes, "That's your market right there."
Yeah,
And so the people in my high-end program, I love them. We get along great, right?
that's nice.
Yeah, and it's like because you want to get up and look forward to the day you're going to spend with your with your clients, not, oh man, I got to work with Phil again. Oh, not
Yeah.
Phil, right?
I don't want to go to work today. I have
Yeah.
to. I'm the boss. That's funny. So you help business owners have breakthroughs. Now we talked, as I said, we talked in the preview before the show, and you said something about taking the illness out so they can be more prosperous. Can you expand on that?
One of my clients, she had chronic migraines.
Hmm.
So she could only work so often. And of course, it affects her business,
Yeah,
right? So working with her, we found out that her dad used to say, people that don't work are lazy. And she internalized that at like the age of 6, that I'm not allowed to even take breaks. Because
oh
if I
my
stop
goodness,
working, because I
no
stop working, I'm
self-care or
lazy.
anything.
Yeah. So this is it. The migraines started around age 6 or 7 for her. Whenever she felt like she needed a rest, instead of taking a break, she'd get a migraine. Because a migraine, her parents were like, "Oh, poor girl, why don't you rest?" And so she could rest without feeling guilty.
Because she was given permission
And she
then.
was given permission. She could,
Wow.
and that just stuck with her whole life. I don't want, that way I've got permission. No one's going to get mad at me. No one's going to call me lazy as long as I'm in pain.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, we once we identified that was going on, we let go of that belief, and within a week the migraines were gone.
Nice.
Right. And so once the migraines
Nice.
were gone, she could be more productive and she could rest when she wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's self-care is something I've really been discovering. And I did not realize how much I was not doing self-care because when I was young and, and like in high school or even in college, I would still go do stuff I love, take the breaks when I wanted to, if I wasn't feeling well, sorry, boss, I'm not coming in if I'm throwing up here, or I don't want to throw up at work or whatever, sorry to be so graphic. But then life really started coming in, then I was responsible for a family and I had people who weren't the best people to be around, and it
Mhm.
was my choice to be around them. Um, but it was not my choice to be treated the way it was. It was kind of because it took me a while to get out. But anyways, um, so I had all these people telling me, this is, one thing, if you're not doing this, you're lazy, or didn't anybody ever teach you right? You're city girl, all this kind of stuff and all these things. And I finally said, no, those things are not true about me. I'm not gonna take it anymore. And so, I was able to get out of that, but I needed to get that mind cleared that
Mhm.
that's not true because yeah, all these things set in and they affect what you do. And I didn't realize that I was actually still carrying some of these around with me. It took me about a month, but I got my calendar situated so that on Wednesdays, I don't schedule things in on Wednesdays. I don't say, well, I can put one or two people in here. No, most of the day is mine. And, there's always meetings that are on at 5 o'clock, but I like those. I enjoy those. Those are still part of a self-care routine for me because it's just an enjoyable meeting, doing something I really like. And now that I've been able to take a couple of Wednesdays now that are just all mine, I can do, really clean the house. I can unpack boxes because we've got a whole shipping container full of those to unpack, or iron clothes or do whatever I want to do, go outside, go sit by the pond and do nothing. Um,
Mhm.
I am amazed at how valuable that is to me, to my well-being, to my mind, to give me the energy that I need to get going and keep going and make the good decisions. Huge difference to do
Yep.
that self-care. I am so glad you helped her find it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
one of the things that I've been taught by my coaches too is it's not just taking the breaks throughout the day. I take the last week of every month off,
oh, really,
right? So it's not off in that I'm doing absolutely nothing, but no one can get on my schedule.
right.
So during that week, I do whatever I want. Like if I just want to relax and watch Netflix and eat Doritos, I will do that. If I'm like, oh, this project I've been thinking about, I've got a whole week to work on it and no one's going to disturb me because everyone's completely blocked off my calendar, then I'll be like, oh, let me do that. But it's not from a place of I need to get that done. It's this
Right.
place of, oh, let me do this now. It's this excited, creative space that I get at the end of
Yeah.
every month now. And the thing that I didn't expect was when I started doing this at the end of every month, there's just this relief. There's this like
Isn't that something?
for a whole week, right?
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that. Maybe you can expand on this too, you know? And I think that that's kind of a mindset. It's like, well, if we have to take this time to just go, are we putting too much pressure on ourselves in the meantime? Why aren't we enjoying it all the time? So when we get the week, it's not like, oh man, I'm so glad I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore. It's like, wow, it's been really great to do work, but now I get to do this other thing too.
Mhm.
Um, and I wonder, is that something we need to be concerned about, or is that just okay?
Well, ideally, you want to be doing what you love, right?
Yeah,
So, and that's what I do, and I love working with my clients. The thing is, though, I very much love alone time, and during that week, it's basically alone time for me.
yeah, yeah,
All right. So that's the feeling. Now, it's really hard. Like you can do it. You can set up a business that you're just never working with people. But
yeah,
but that's not the way my business is set up right now, especially as a coach. People kind of say, well, you need to coach me sometime.
yeah. Yeah, when
But
your coach disappears, it's kind of like, I was doing okay, but I'm kind of stuck. Where's my coach?
yeah. So there's me spending time with people and uh just having that alone time. Like I do it every night. I do it anyway. Like my last 2 hours of my night, I leave, I go to my room and no one bother me. This is my
Nice,
recharge, right?
nice.
And so now I've got that at the end of the month, every month. And then the December, I take the whole month off.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've actually got plans for developing more stuff for my business this December. I'm really excited about when it comes up because we're only a couple of months away. And then on New Year's Eve, I do an event every year where we clean out all the crap that's built up in you over the year in a 3 hour session in the afternoon. Then you can go party at New Year's for the New
Oh,
Year's Eve.
nice.
Yeah, and I've been doing that for 11 years now, and people just love it
That
because it
sounds incredible.
starts the year fresh.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, what have been some of the difficulties? You know, let me rephrase this. Was there difficulty in transitioning from your job, even though they let you go, there's still, that to transitioning to the business that you're doing?
So there was the I think it's going from full-time to entrepreneur, that kind of transition. Where am I going to get clients? How
Right.
do how do I market myself? I didn't know anything about joint ventures when I started, and the first time someone said, "Why don't we work together?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And I said, "So am I going to lose money now because I got to work with you?" He said, "No, we'll raise the prices and then we each take half, so we make more."
Cool.
And at that point, I was trying to do these workshops to get my name out there, and I'd get like 1 to 4 people coming to a workshop. And she was an event organizer, so she organized the event, and I came in and just did what I did. And I went from 4 people at an event to 40 people.
Wow,
Oh,
that's a good
yeah,
event
right.
organizer.
And at a twi like it was we were charging 4 times what I was charging for the event, then dividing that in half. So I was making twice as much per person and 10 times the people.
Wow.
Right. So
That's
200
awesome.
times, like, or sorry, 20 times the pay increase in just by just having one relationship. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started learning all that. There was still at the beginning the imposter syndrome because I'm now learning about all these other people that are doing healing work, mindset work, Bob Proctor making millions, and I'm like, oh, I
Oh, yeah.
don't know if I'll ever be that good, and like so.
Oh, wait. You don't know, Piero, you will be that good. You're
So
already
I mean
on
that was
your
the
way.
that was the mindset at the time, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
then I got
Yeah.
introduced to Abraham Hicks, and I was just like, holy crap, this woman's connected completely to source and just downloads divine information. So that came up, and then eventually I just let all that go and just started to really own my own value, and
Nice.
things just improved and improved and improved. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. Um, so where do you want your business to go in the future besides to be as big as Bob Proctor and Tony Robbins and all the others? You know?
But it doesn't have to be that big, but one of the things I loved was I went on one of the Abraham Hicks cruises.
Yeah.
And she they have, on the cruise they have that big auditorium where they do all the shows and stuff.
Okay.
She brought 1,100 people onto the cruise, which was enough to fill that auditorium.
Wow.
And so that's one of my goals is to be able and she does 3 of those cruises a year. So if I can do
Fun.
3 cruises a year where I get to be on a cruise ship and do excursions and then speak in that auditorium to over 1,000 people, then
Yeah.
that's going to be a fun goal to achieve.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
I'm talking to someone about doing my first cruise next year. So that's going to be
Oh, good for you.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. You'll have to come back on and tell us about it before you go so we can all
Okay.
join in. That would be wonderful. Wow, my big goal is, next year to put on a concert at Carnegie Hall for
Ooh,
248 people. I mean, that's a huge goal for me. It's learning to get the sponsors and things like that. I've got the musicians. I've got several musicians. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. It's called
okay.
Music That Ignites Life because I
Nice.
want people to feel alive. I mean, this morning I'm listening to a song and I'm just bebopping along with it and getting ready. It's like, yeah, that's what I want this this to do is just, over all the different eras and the cultures and ways that we have music, and music is like a language that talks with each other, and for me to be able to give that gift to other people, that would be really good. That's a personal gift. That's not a business thing. That's a personal thing. Something I wanted
Yeah.
to do from a kid. Why did I never do it? Mindset. I grew up with a mindset that that's for other people, not for you.
Mhm.
That's why I never played at Carnegie Hall. That's why I didn't go do, all these other things that I always thought would be cool to do. But my mind started changing after I disconnected from the toxic relationship and I met people who were doing things that they wanted to do. And I thought, well, I can do that. And I was able to do it.
Mhm.
I've been skydiving. I go scuba diving. I've been surfing. I went back to college and hung out with all of these young kids that were about the same age as my own kids, and it was great. I was always told marine biology does not have a career. And it's like, so anybody out there who has been told don't go into marine biology, there are jobs out there. Go into marine biology if that's what you want to do. And,
Yeah.
and I was surprised that these young kids were told that too. And I'm like, are you kidding? That's what I was told, 40 years ago. That's crazy. But it's a wonderful, wonderful world. Anyways, going back to things, it's that mindset that holds us back from doing so many things. And I
Yeah.
love that you help people get over that and heal their bodies and get their businesses going. That's just
Yeah. And
wonderful.
what you were talking about is a lot of it because our parents try to protect us and try to keep us safe. And
Yes.
usually that means developing mindsets of being small,
Yeah.
of of playing it safe, about taking tiny steps. And they're like, don't be a marine biologist, don't be a musician, don't be an actor. So there's not a lot of money in that. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure Robert Downey Jr. I think he's getting paid $100 million for his next gig with Marvel, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good
So
shows, fun shows. They're just fun.
it's just fun. And so one of the things when I hear someone say, like try to tell someone else or their children, don't go into music, like don't try to be a performer, you're not going to make a lot of money. I'm like, do you not listen to songs on the radio? Have you never bought someone's album? Are you
Yeah.
telling me there's no money in that?
Yeah. My daughter, um, I think it was 2 years ago, someone told her, "Oh, that's just a pipe dream. Don't do that."
Mhm.
And I told her, I says, "Don't you listen to them. So what if it's a pipe dream? At least it's your dream. Go try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least you tried it. Don't just listen to people and not even try."
Yeah.
Oh, that really bothered me that somebody would say that to her. And it's like, so what if it's a pipe dream? You know? That's why people do things that, I mean, you look at the television series Star Trek.
Mhm.
Look at how many things we have today that were things they used on that show. I mean, not the trinkets, but there were things that was going on and whatnot. We're using them in our world today. So
Yeah.
somebody had a pipe dream, and they went for it. Um, yeah, that was just
Mhm.
I felt so bad that anybody would say to anybody else, "Don't follow your dream. Don't do it. You're gonna fail." I mean, I think that's such a hurtful thing to say. We shouldn't
But that's
say
not
those
what they
things.
mean. What they mean is, I'm
Yeah,
going to save you the pain of failing by
yeah,
telling you not to try it in the first place.
yeah, but sometimes failing is good pain because we learn
Oh,
from it.
absolutely. I agree with
Oh,
you. I'm just saying from their point of view, they think they're doing
yes,
that thing for that person.
yeah. But I guess I was a little harsh. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's like, let people have their dreams.
Mhm.
If you know for a fact it's physically going to hurt them mentally, emotionally, whatever, you know, then maybe talk about those things. Don't just say don't do it. Give them reasons. Let them know what you're thinking of. And maybe they have different thoughts than you do and they know how to avoid those. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. This brings us to something you said that I thought was so good, and you said it in the pre-show, was people are addicted to their current reality.
Mhm.
So I want you to explain that to those who won't understand it, like me.
Okay. So when I talked about the reasons you would have for not having money, right? So let's say one of the reasons you have to stop having money is, I don't want to pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
Then when someone complains about how much they have to pay about on taxes, you unconsciously think, oh, good, I didn't have to pay that much. You might consciously think it too. And your body gets hit with dopamine because you were
Okay.
right, right? You're doing the
Ah,
right thing, so you get hit with dopamine. And then if let's say you don't like rich people, then you see another rich person screw someone over, and you're like, see, that's not me. I'm a good person. You get hit with dopamine. And all the reasons you have unconsciously for not having the money or not having the visibility or the level of success or the great relationship, every time there's evidence as to why you shouldn't have it, you get another dopamine hit. And you create this dopamine addiction to the current reality that you're in.
so how do you
So,
change that?
well, that's the thing.
That's what you do.
Most,
You go, we get you to coach us.
I mean, that's my whole business, right? That is my whole business. Because you could do this stuff, and I've done this stuff on my own, and it could take a long time.
Yeah.
Because when you try to look for what the answers are, your subconscious is going to try to hide the answers so it can
Oh,
stay safe in its addiction. It's an addict,
wow.
right? The whole thing is once you
Wow.
get this, because this sounds like bleak and like, oh my God, this is the way things are. I'm an addict, and my mind's even going to try and do everything it can to stop me. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. However, once you decide I'm not going to be at the mercy of these addictions, I'm going to create different addictions, then you can start to change your reality. Because here's the thing, your mind and body want to be addicted to something.
Oh,
It's just
wow.
that you haven't been choosing the addiction.
You've let them choose it.
Yep. So when you decide I'm going to be addicted to the praise I get for the successes I have, so that, I got to another level of my business and all my friends are like, oh, way to go. All right. I'm going to get addicted to that. That feels
Right.
really good. Then the addiction you've got possibly to your struggle, because I've seen a lot of people with, oh my God, I did my, I failed again. I tried so hard. And their friends are like, we see you trying. We love you for it. You just keep at it. They get addicted to that feedback, which means they have to keep failing over and over
Wow.
and keep getting that
Oh,
feedback. They don't
wow.
think this consciously. This is all unconscious. But your
Okay. I want to
unconscious
be
is,
addicted to solving everyone's problems.
see, but then you're going to get hit with all sorts of problems.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
Oh, very good. Very
Okay.
good.
All right. So
Okay.
that's why you got to be very careful on what you want to be addicted
Yeah.
to. So,
All
and
right.
you
I
also
need
get
to hire
addicted.
you.
You're also going to be addicted to a specific emotion. Everyone goes through
Oh,
a whole
really?
bunch of emotions every day, but we get addicted to a specific emotion that we're in more often.
Oh, isn't that something?
Yeah. And if you read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, he goes into the science of it. Like your cells actually create receptors for the chemicals associated for your addicted emotion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That
Okay.
that I believe because I know about how your brain can do things and it carries it throughout your whole body.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah,
So when
yeah.
you decide this is what I'm going to be addicted to, you're going to go through withdrawal. And you have to treat this just like drug or alcohol addiction.
Wow.
And eventually you will become addicted to the new selected reality. And the cool thing about that is once you're addicted to that, it's really, really hard to get out of it. So when you get addicted to a higher level of money or my preference is a certain level of growth in success, so you just keep going, right? When you get addicted to more fulfilling relationships, when you get addicted to being healthy, then your body doesn't want to let go of those addictions once they've become embedded. And it takes about 6 months to a year to embed an addiction,
Really?
right? And that's why all my programs are a year long. So we cover the whole thing. And that's also why when people want to get out, it's typically around the 6 month mark where the addiction is just starting to break apart. The old one is breaking apart and the new one's coming in. And the whole body is like, they don't think it's their body. They just think, oh, I got really busy with stuff, or I got sick, or I'm having family problems. All those
Oh,
things come
wow.
up around that period where you're breaking that addiction apart and it's about to leave forever. Right. So I know this now, and I tell people, you're in this for a year. Like
Yeah.
you're going to try and
Yeah.
get out of it.
And that
Don't.
that 6 month mark's going to be tough, so keep
Yeah.
going through it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So I know you have two books,
I
but
do.
what's the book for your business?
The book for my business is because we work on reality, How to Rewrite Reality.
How to Rewrite Reality. Love
Yeah.
that. And where can we find it?
You can find it on Amazon
Okay.
and or you can go to howtorewritereality.com. Made it easy.
Yeah.
And
This.
yeah, and so it is all about how the reasons why you're stuck in the addiction of your reality and how to get out of it. And the whole thing is done in the metaphor of stories. So the subtitle is Becoming the Author of the Stories in Your Life. So we've got chapters like your backstory, your genre, your archetype, your supporting characters, driving the narrative, plot holes, and of course finishing off with happily ever after.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah.
So, a lot of people think, oh, I'll just get the book, then I don't have to coach with you, and the book will just give me all the answers and I'll be okay.
Mhm.
So I want you to break that narrative we tell ourselves that way. Um, there's more to you than what's in the book. Does the book give us an idea of what's going on and then it's better to get together with you after we've read the book?
So yes. Okay, so uh, The funny thing is, you say I read the book, so I don't need it. I actually had one of my clients said I gave the book to my son. He's been in depression for 3 years. He came out of depression by reading your book,
Wow,
right?
that's
One
awesome.
one person was suicidal. He stopped being suicidal after reading the book. So the book can have a very, very powerful effect. And so that's why I recommend read the book. However, if you don't if you don't know how, or you can't trust yourself, and most people can't, they think they can, to maintain the lessons until the new addiction comes in, then what happens is you have a breakthrough in your reality, and then withdrawal kicks in and you lose it.
Yeah,
And
you
you
go
may have
right
experienced
back.
this yourself if you've gone through a program, gone through a retreat, and you're like, wow, this is all great. And then I lost it. You
Yeah,
think it was the program that didn't work, but the program just didn't allow for withdrawal.
right. It's kind of like when you go to a weekend retreat and you think, oh, this is great. I'm going to carry it with me the rest of your life. And the week comes and you forget all about it. And till,
Yep.
7 years later, when you pack all of your stuff in storage and you go, oh, yeah, I was going to do this. I was going to do that. And
Yep.
so, yeah, we need something to make it a permanent thing.
And that's it.
There's,
Because your mind, and like when you say you forget all about it, your mind makes you forget about it. It wasn't that it just slipped. Your subconscious mind purposely distracted you to keep you in addiction.
oh man, that is just so interesting. Wow. I'm just, I've never said this before, but I'm gonna have to watch my own podcast again to go over this again. That's just kind of mind blowing. Um, everything that you're saying. I know we're short on time, and gosh, I just don't want to let you go. I want to hear more. You'll have to come back. Let us know when you have another book
Happy,
going, and
happy to
and
come.
yeah, definitely, get a hold of us again and see where we're in 6 months
Okay.
and go from there. But thank you. Do you have any closing words for our audience?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to be the happiest person in the room. Right.
Awesome.
That's it. A lot of people treat happiness like an illness. Like if you're too happy, they're like, what drugs are you on? Or what's wrong with you?
Oh man, I don't have
Um,
that problem.
okay. So when you're the happiest person in the room, it gives other people permission to come up to your happiness level. So be
Oh
the happiest
wow.
person in the room.
Awesome. I love that. Thanks, Shiraz, so much for coming here. Tell the audience again how they can get a hold of you and your book.
If you want to get a hold of me, you can come to energeticmagic.com, and the book is How to Rewrite Reality, and you'll find that on the website as well. So,
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. And I appreciate you, my audience, for sitting on the front porch with us today. We'll talk to you on the next show.
all right. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiraz. This was really good. This is a really good show. I um personally, how much does it cost to do a course with you?
It depends on the course.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
so I definitely have got a lot of stuff in there that I
okay.
need to get unaddicted from. And it's like, yeah, because as you're saying that, I'm thinking back over my life and it's like, yeah, this is when I started this and thought I could get rid of it, but then I can see where my mind said, kind of happy like this. And it's
Mhm.
like, and maybe that's why some entrepreneurs um, start a business and then stop a business, start a
Yep.
business and stop a business, you know.
That's
Yeah,
trying to escape, going into withdrawals, trying to escape,
yeah.
going to withdrawal. That's
There's a
exactly what
lot of garbage in here. I really need to do some house cleaning.
happened.
I need to go to rehab. Go to Shiraz rehab. So yeah, I'll get a hold of
You're
you
welcome
or
to come.
or look on your website and that's probably the best place to get started, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Just
All
have a
right.
conversation later.
Yeah, we'll do that. Thank you so much. And I'll edit stuff out. I'll edit out the little cut out the earpod. What was it? Yeah, the earpod situation because I can slice and dice my stuff now. I know how to do that. So, but really, really good interview. Thank you so much for being here. And you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, Ellis Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.